What if everyone woke up rich tomorrow, and somehow the world became poorer? It sounds impossible. But think about it. If no one struggles financially anymore, what kind of struggle replaces it? Pause for a second. Not just a few people, everyone. The cashier, the student, the taxi driver, the CEO, the retired couple, the kid with a cracked phone and a dream. Overnight, every bank account explodes upward. Zeros multiply. People celebrate. News channels scramble. Social media erupts. And for a moment, it feels like the perfect ending. No more rent stress. No more empty refrigerators. No more choosing between medicine and groceries. Finally, the world feels fair. But here's where it gets strange. If everyone is rich, then who is actually rich? This is where the idea starts to fall apart. Because money isn't just paper. It isn't just numbers on a screen. Money only matters when it separates people. It measures difference. It creates distance. And if everyone gets more at the same time, that distance doesn't disappear. It can stay the same. Or quietly get worse. $1 billion sounds powerful. Until a loaf of bread costs 100. Until houses triple in price. Until the barber, the builder, the doctor, and the farmer all raise their prices because they can. Suddenly, the numbers are bigger. But life doesn't feel easier. That's the first shock. We like to think wealth is just money. But it's not. Wealth is access. Access to food, to shelter, to time, to safety, to people who can solve problems for you. And if everyone gets more money, but the number of homes, workers, farms, and factories stays the same, then nothing fundamental has changed. The bottleneck is still there. The money changed. Reality didn't. And that's where the illusion begins to crack. People like to imagine this. If everyone becomes rich, happiness should follow. It sounds clean, logical. Money removes suffering, so more money should remove more suffering, right? Not exactly, because human life doesn't work that neatly. We don't just want enough. We want more than enough. More security, more status, more control, more space than the person next to us. And that isn't just greed, it's psychology. Whether we admit it or not, we are constantly measuring ourselves. Against a neighbor, a classmate, a colleague, even a stranger online. Our brains keep score. Because for most of human history, rank meant survival. Higher rank meant more food, more protection, more influence. So when everyone becomes rich at once, the scoreboard doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. One person buys a bigger house. Another buys a faster car. Someone else invests in elite tutors. Private security, exclusive healthcare, better opportunities for their children. And very quickly, money starts chasing something else. Not cash, but scarcity. Because the things that truly matter can't be mass-produced overnight. Land, time, attention, trust, talent, clean neighborhoods, good schools, top medical experts, peaceful places. These are the real assets. And they're limited. You can't print them. You can't inflate them. You can't create more hours in a day. Just because everyone got richer. So the world shifts. The rich are still rich. The poor are still under pressure. The middle class gets squeezed, just from a different direction. On paper, the gap looks smaller. In real life, it doesn't feel that way. And that raises a deeper question. Why do we keep thinking of wealth like it's magic? Part of the answer is history. For most of human history, wealth was simple. If you had more land, more grain, more animals, more gold, you were safer. Wealth was physical, visible, easy to count. But modern wealth is different. It's tied to systems, to credit, to trust, to institutions, to your ability to make other people work for you. And that's why a sudden explosion of money is so deceptive. It looks like redistribution. But if production doesn't increase, it's just a new label on the same scarcity. Think about a concert. 1,000 people want 200 seats. Now imagine everyone suddenly has more money. Do the seats increase? No. They just get more expensive. The same thing happens with housing, with education, with neighborhoods, with rare experiences. Money can compete for them, but it can't create them. So in a world where everyone is rich, the battle doesn't end. It evolves. It's no longer about survival. It becomes about position. And that's where things get dangerous. Because humans are incredibly creative when it comes to comparison. Take away the fear of food and rent, and we don't stop comparing. We just zoom in. Homes, lifestyles, vacations, bodies, children, careers, even morality. We start ranking ourselves by smaller and smaller differences until everyone is chasing something invisible, trying to prove they are richer, smarter, healthier, calmer, better. That's the twist most people never see coming. A world where everyone is rich might not create peace. It might create pressure everywhere. Because when survival is no longer the fear, status becomes the fear. Here's the transition most people miss. Money doesn't erase human desire. It reveals it. Once the emergency is gone, the real game begins. And that game isn't about having enough. It's about not falling behind. That's why some of the richest societies on Earth still struggle with loneliness, anxiety, burnout, and quiet social tension. More money can buy comfort. It can buy convenience. It can buy options. But it can't buy a sense of enough, especially in a culture that treats enough as failure. So what actually happens if everyone becomes rich tomorrow? At first, celebration, then inflation, then confusion, and then a race. A race toward the things that still can't be multiplied. Skilled workers raise their prices. Landowners increase costs. Companies adjust overnight. And the people who understand how systems work, they move first. Everyone else? They fall behind fast. Even with bigger numbers in their accounts. That's the second shock. Equal money doesn't create equal power. Because power doesn't come from cash alone. It comes from leverage, from knowledge, from ownership, from networks, from timing. So if everyone receives money, but only a few understand how to use systems, build assets, or control access, then inequality doesn't disappear. It just changes its outfit. You've seen this before. Some people win the lottery and still end up broke. Not because they were cursed. Because money isn't a structure. It's fuel. And fuel, without direction, burns fast. Now zoom out. But what if the goal was never just rich people? What if the goal was abundant life? That's a completely different question. Because abundance isn't the same as money. Abundance means more homes, more energy, more food, more tools, more education, more trust, more time, more resilience. It means the system itself grows. The pie gets bigger, not just the number on the receipt. In that kind of world, everyone getting richer actually means something. Not because the same money is spread wider, but because there is more reality behind it. More of what money is supposed to represent. That's the kind of wealth that changes civilizations. Not just richer bank accounts. Richer reality. A society becomes truly wealthier when it builds better machines, more efficient farming, safer transport, better medicine, smarter ways to share knowledge. That kind of wealth isn't zero-sum in the same way. One person's gain doesn't have to be another person's loss. The total can grow. But even then, the human problem doesn't disappear. Because when life gets safer, we don't stop searching for meaning. And maybe that's the deepest truth hiding in all of this. What if everyone became rich? Maybe the answer isn't perfect happiness. Maybe the answer is something more uncomfortable. We would realize wealth was never the destination. Wealth is a tool, a shield, a shortcut, sometimes a weapon, sometimes a trap. But it's not dignity. It's not belonging. It's not purpose. You can give everyone more money tomorrow and still leave them chasing the same fears. Or you can build a world where money matters less because the essentials are abundant, where people feel less like competitors and more like participants. That's the real thought experiment. Not just, what if everyone became rich? But what would it take for everyone to actually feel safe? Because once you ask that, money stops looking like the finish line and starts looking like the beginning of a much harder conversation